Good morning. It's a nice Sunday morning here. So for a bodybuilding update, we are just under 19 weeks out of the Detroit Pro-Am for my first show. My diet is slowly changing. A couple weeks ago, like I said in the video in the previous, coach took out 150 grams of carbs or 150 grams of rice, 30-ish grams of carbs. And then this week he removed 15 grams of Gerber rice and 120 milliliters of orange juice, right? So just carbs are coming down little by little, still ingesting a pretty significant amount of carbs in the upper 300 grams per day range, which for somebody my size is more than enough, right? Starting to see little details come out in my physique, like specifically in my legs, which is pretty cool. I know that we're still, 19 weeks away, and like when we're having this conversation at 2 weeks out, I'm going to look much different. But it's interesting because I've been bulking for like 3 years, so to see a little bit of change is always nice. Um, and I'm just super excited to see that change come into play. Right, this is going to be my first real cut from a bodybuilding perspective. I wrestled in high school, so I've cut weight before, but I've never really done a bodybuilding cut. So that's pretty cool. One of the things we're doing is making sure that I get 10K steps per day. And then coach is he's kind of giving me the option between either lowering food or adding 2,000 steps, right? As at each incremental part of our change in diet for the time being. I'm sure as we get down to like 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks out, he's not going to be as lenient, and he will definitely be mandating some things. But as of right now, it feels pretty nice, and I'm still pretty comfortable just removing food. Still working on posing. I'm going to throw some shots in from this morning. Some of the poses that I can do feel pretty good, and I feel comfortable in them. My rear lat spread, side chest, side tricep, all of those are like very comfortable poses for me. But then I definitely still have some poses that need work. But we've got 19 weeks to work on them. So hopefully by the time the show comes around, everything will be polished up and will look really good. But then today we're going to go hit chest here in a minute, and then we're going to meal prep this afternoon. I'm going to take you along for all of that. So enjoy.
All right, elbow feels better from last week, so sticking to the 120s. See how these move. First set felt really good, so I'm going to stay at the 120s. Elbow doesn't hurt. Had really good pressing out of my chest, right? So, and when I say that, I mean like I wasn't shifting the load to my triceps or my delts. So, going to go in for the 120s, second set. So, going back in for the third set with these. So pretty much no matter how many reps we get, successful improvement from last week. But definitely aiming for all 12. Woo. Woo. Ah. 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 Eh. Eh. Ah. Come on. Eh. One more. Yep. Ah. Since pressing is feeling so good, I'm going to continue to increase weight. So this is up 5 pounds per side, so 10 pounds total from last week. But like with my last set of flat dumbbell pressing, just kind of the setup was a little sloppy. Caught myself off balance. Like when you're moving big weight like that, that can really throw the whole set off if you don't find a way to like recover from it pretty quickly. But anyway. If I could choose the next 30 pounds of weight that I gain, 20 pounds, 25 pounds would go to my chest and shoulders. The other 5 would go to different sections of my leg, excluding my calves. I just gotta put a lot more weight on my upper body in general for it to match the density that I have in my legs. Not a bad problem to have, but something that I'm being very specific about with my training. Being very intentional. That's the word I was thinking of. Time to move some of the blood out of my pecs into my shoulders. So somehow we neglected to do pec deck after Smith. So a little bit out of order, but we're getting it in. So we got 3 sets of pec deck. Ah. Uh, 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 uh.
All right, so once again, having some technical difficulties, specifically with the microphone. I promise in the future I will remember to charge my mics, but at this point, I have gotten back from the gym. I've eaten my midday meal of chicken and rice, and I'm just getting ready to start the meal prep process. It's about 1 o'clock here. Um, so the meals we're making are essentially 4 meals, but in reality they're 5. I'll get to that in a second. But my meal one is my chicken, spinach, and a bagel with oats and blueberries. Then we've got the pre-workout meal, which is Gerber rice, protein powder, peanut butter, honey, and stuff like that. And then we've got a chicken and vegetable meal, no rice, chicken and rice meal with an apple. So we combined both of those meals to just make it a big chicken and rice meal, and then a beef and rice and vegetable meal in the evening. Um, and I'm just going to go through step by step of what I do to get all 54 meals done for the week between me and my roommate. So here we've got the Instapot, about to start cooking the rice. I use this handy dandy measuring cup, otherwise known as a shaker bottle. I do 2 of those of dry rice, and then I do 2 1/4 of those of water. Wash the rice 3 times until the water runs clear, and then you're just throwing it in the Instapot, not using the rice setting, just using pressure cook for 4 minutes, and then let it sit for 10 minutes once it's done. So for some reason that works out well. And then here we've got vegetables. We've got about a third of a package of carrots that we're going to do for this week, a package of green beans, and a package of asparagus, which is new actually. I usually do peppers and zucchini squash, but we changed it up with the green beans and the asparagus this week just for something different to taste. And here we've got the second station where my roommate is doing the pre workout meals. Again, it's Gerber rice, literally baby food, with some protein powder, about 66 grams of that, creatine, salt, peanut butter, and honey. All that gets mixed together, and then just throw in a container dry, and then you throw in hot water whenever you're ready to eat it. So at this point, we've got all the vegetables prepped. We've got the 2 pans of chicken prepped, chicken tenderloins. Hit it with some Kirkland brand no salt seasoning. We use no salt because we control the amount of sodiums that we eat. So at the end of prepping everything, we put a specific amount of salt on each meal. At this point, rice is done, nice and fluffy, as you can see. And then I just take my food scale over here. I take a glass container, only using glass containers, no plastic containers for my meal preps, trying to avoid as many microplastics as possible. And then we'll just throw in 150 grams of rice for each container here and throw it onto the other counter so that we can just keep rocking and rolling and get through this whole thing of rice before it gets dry and whatever. And now at this point, Ethan has moved on from the Gerber rices into oats. We've got 60 grams of oats with some cinnamon, vanilla extract, and then 10 grams of honey. And mine will get covered in water, his get covered in milk. And then we've got our 8 pounds, 7 pounds of ground beef. I only eat 6 ground beef meals a week. He eats 12, so about a third of this is mine. But yeah, 93.7 ground beef. About to start portioning things here. Getting ready to portion the beef, letting the chicken and the vegetables cool before we start cutting them. Here is Ethan sauteing our spinach as the chicken is continuing to cool. Just waiting on the carrots and everything else to be out of here. All right, chicken's cooled down enough, so now I just take a handful of chicken tenderloins, which is the reason we switched. They're just super easy to cut. I'll take a big handful and I just chunk them up. I take my knife, run through them, make them into, inch by inch chunks. That way they're easier to distribute to each meal. Um, it makes it to where we can more accurately weigh the amount of chicken we're putting into each meal. Now it's all chunked. I've got those 6 meals right there that I'm going to put about 195 grams of chicken because I have one meal that's 82 grams and then one meal that's 112 grams that we've combined. And at this point, we have all the vegetables are out. We've got the chicken and spinach meal that are already portioned, and we're just going to throw some salt on those. And then this is the rest of the main meals that also need to be salted. Over here, we've got the 7 pre-workout meals for the week, the Gerber rice protein powder, all that stuff. And then this is what a fully prepped fridge looks like. So we've got my oats, roommate's oats, my breakfasts, roommate's breakfasts, his lunches and dinners, my lunches and dinners, and then got like the fruit drawer, blueberries and apples. Blueberries go on the oats, apples get eaten with the lunch and the dinner. So yeah, that's what I say, 54 meals. 54 meals done, and it is 3:42. So we finished early. All right, so successful day of bodybuilding, right? We posed this morning, we hit a lift, we meal prepped, went through my tracker a little bit. You know, love Sundays for that reason. I get to focus basically all of my energy on bodybuilding, which is what I wish I could do every day. So this week for meal prep, we changed up veggies. Like I said, we used to do peppers, bell peppers, and zucchini squash. Now we changed those to green beans and asparagus. But next week we're going to need to buy more asparagus because we just ran a little short for a couple of meals. But hey, you live and you learn. But yeah, y'all see if you've got a plan and if you have a helper, that makes meal prepping so much easier. But like, even if I didn't have a helper, like, before me and my roommate moved in together, I was still doing my meal preps just by myself. And yeah, the 3 hours of meal prep turns into five when it's just by yourself. But come on, 5 hours on the weekend to not have to cook at all during the week, not have to do dishes other than your meal prep dishes, right? And all that is rinsing them out and throwing them in the dishwasher. So it just makes, in my opinion, life so much more manageable, especially when I'm eating 5 times a day. I literally cannot be cooking 5 individual meals even once a day. So it helps me out a lot. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. Have a great week.